Hello and welcome to the Classroom Connection, the show that takes you inside Marion County Public Schools. I'm Kevin Christian and I'm glad you've joined us today. Coming up on our show, learn why upcoming 7th graders get the point when it comes to starting school next year. We take our first look at this year's Best of Show winners in the Marion County Student Media Festival, and then we wrap up our special series on Pathways to Prosperity by sitting down with the director of that program. Up first, though, the World's Fair is a huge event for any country. Now, imagine bringing the World's Fair right here to Marion County, to Stanton-Weirsdale Elementary to be more exact. For weeks, students study countries, learn cultures, and design their own costumes. And then hundreds of parents show up to see what this huge event is all about. Joel Hartley has more with this inside scoop.
All the iconic images are there. Bagpipes from Scotland, a Chinese dragon, wooden shoes from the Netherlands, a Jamaican bobsled team, even French mimes. And it's all thanks to an idea Marilyn Hughes had nearly 30 years ago.
I realized how limited our children were when it came to cultural diversity, and I suggested that we do a World's Fair. I taught in California for about 15 years, and we did something that was very, very similar. So this is how I thought of it, to have each classroom choose a country, and I thought if we did that rather than a grade level, we could learn about more countries instead of 5 or 6.
All told, nearly 30 countries are represented in the halls of Stanton-Weirsdale. It's a tradition the students really look forward to.
They love it. To see them get excited about it every year. They know as soon as FCAT testing is done, World's Fair is kicking in, and they get extremely excited about it. It's fun. It's a new experience for many that transfer in. Some of them, it's the excitement of learning a different country than what they did the previous year. It's
a relaxing, fun break from the stress of FCAT testing, but it's still very much a learning experience.
We research, because in 4th grade research is a big thing, using computers and text and books as well. My kids are presented with a scenario of their travel agent want to convince somebody to travel to Tahiti. They research travel expenses, which ties in math and being able to convert money from US dollars to francs that they use in Tahiti, and researching 3 topics to learn about the food, the language, their lifestyle, the land features of Tahiti, and make a brochure to be able to present to the imaginary family that comes in. We tie it into writing. They write about the trees of life in Tahiti and things like that. So I try to cross curriculum with it.
Also a dance instructor, Kara Brady even taught her students a traditional Tahitian dance. The payoff comes twice on a Friday in late May, first with the Parade of Nations. Led by the Lakewood Middle School Band, the classes, representing the nations they've adopted, parade around the bus loop in front of hundreds of parents. Then that night, everyone returns to tour the school, learning all the time.
Every child has a passport, and they will visit each of the countries. And in order to get the passport stamped, they need to be able to give a fact about that country. So it's fun. There will be food from other countries. It's just wonderful.
The kids get so excited to be able to say, Mom, this is mine. Hey, look, I did this and I did that, and being able to point out on the wall what all is theirs, and to be able to tell their parents these facts about a country that their parents don't know. So it's neat.
They get to visit countries vicariously. Some of our students have never gone beyond Marion County, so this is very good in that way.
In her 51st year as an educator, Hughes is quite proud of what will one day, if it hasn't already, become her legacy.
I look forward to this each year.
Assistant Principal Marilyn Hughes started the World's Fair experience 28 years ago, just 1 year after she joined the Stanton-Weirsdale family. Well, getting real-world experience is something high school students look for when it comes to their first job. And over the past few months on this show, we've shared stories of Denellen High School students taking field trips to local businesses to learn more about the working world. They've also held mock job interviews to see how their communication skills measure up. And today, The director of the Pathways to Prosperity program, Sarah Lafise, joins us with more information. Sarah, great to see you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
I guess the first question here is, where did you really get this idea for this program?
Well, I started working with Marion County students in the career and technical education field about 4 years ago, and I was new to the area.
Okay.
And so learning, my first year here working, I learned so much about what's in our community in the manufacturing field and all different areas. And I thought, I come in and I speak to these students for 45 minutes, on a day about opportunities, about, being prepared for employment and for success. And I thought, that's what I get, 45 minutes. I hope I make a difference,
Not a lot of time.
Right. And so I wanted to do something where they're spending more time thinking about what is in their future, and then also just learning about their community. There's so much in our backyard that you don't even know exists, and I wanted to give them that opportunity and something that for an entire school year they're thinking, about their future and really starting to pay attention. One of my favorite quotes is, "You become what you think about most of the time." I wanted them to be thinking about, their future and how to prepare for that.
How long does it take to put something like this together? It's a pretty extensive program.
It is, but it's amazing. The community can really come together when they know that this is going to be something that's good for our future. And so it took probably 6 months of planning and talking to different business owners and leaders, and obviously the people that I work with in the CTE department and at CF and CTAE, and just really getting a lot of leaders together.
You've touched on this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What kind of cooperation does it take?
A lot. Obviously, you really have to have a lot of communication with a lot of different people. You have to have principal support, absolutely, and they have been so supportive up to this point. And having, staff and teachers at the schools that will work and communicate with you to make sure that it's going to be successful.
So you've got everything in line behind the scenes, if you will. How do you convince students that this is something they really should do and want to do?
That's a great question. I tried to do, some little frivolous things. They get free T-shirts, or they're getting fed free lunch, a lot of times free breakfast, but really making it as fun and hands-on as possible. And like I said, I can't do it without the teachers and the guidance counselors and the principals at the schools, because I'm not there, every school day. So that they can do that, and they can really encourage these students. You don't want to miss that. We're having a field trip coming up next week. And a lot of times I have experienced where some students say, "Oh, well, I'm not really interested in ag. I'm not really interested in culinary, so I'm not going to go on that day." And I need, and I try to really encourage them, and also, my teammates at the schools, to say, well, you never know. Just go, and you may learn something that you had no idea was even out there. And so, it's kind of going to be that group effort. And I am hoping, as it expands, that those that have been in the program before really encourage, their underclassmen to be a part of it and say, no, it was worth it. Do it.
What kind of success rate? How do you measure the success of it?
There's a couple of different goals that we have because a lot of this program is funded by Perkins grant money. We want to make sure that these students are being what we call program completers. So they've completed 3 years in a particular CTE program. So we track that. I look at grade point averages. I look at, honestly, just are they on track to graduate? Have they do they have the scores that they need? And then I want to. It's still very new. My first group is about to graduate high school this year, and so I really want to help them, get a job, get accepted into a post-secondary education level, whether it is at a university or at CF or at Santa Fe, CTAE, getting that further education and certifications.
What about the feedback? Now, maybe a little earlier, since this is your first graduating class, if you will, but what kind of feedback have you gotten from the students?
Really good. Honestly, it's been, the 2 years were very different, and I'm learning as we go here, what we need to target and what we need to do better at. One of my favorite days that I think I've gotten the most positive feedback on is the last day, their graduation day.
Sure.
They have mock job interviews, and I try to line up people in the community, HR representatives, business owners that are in the field that they're interested in.
Oh, yeah.
And so they get that. They have to come with a resume. This year they actually got 2 different interviews, so they got to experience 2 different interview styles because everybody, is a little different.
Sure.
And then after lunch, we did a financial literacy training, a workshop where they learned, you know, buying a used car versus a new car and so forth. And then they got a Dave Ramsey book to take home with them, you know, to talk, just to plan, you know, financially how to be successful. And they enjoyed that.
Well, it sounds like things are already off and running to a good start. How do you plan to expand the program? You kind of touched on that a little earlier.
Yes, yes. This coming year, pending Perkins grant funding, of course, we're going to expand to and do 3 different high schools this year. So we're hoping to expand to Bellevue and Lake Weir.
Are you ready for that?
I hope so. I'm certainly, I'm very excited to do it, and all of the principals and the staff have been excited to do it as well. So.
We mentioned student feedback and the involvement of businesses in our community. What about parents? They got to be part of this big picture too.
They are. At the end of the year, I send a questionnaire home with them to say, you know, have you noticed a difference in your child? Are they talking more about schools? Or are they talking more about the businesses that they've seen in Ocala? And I've gotten some, you know, some good reviews there as well. But honestly, that's probably the extent. They do have to have permission, obviously, to be a part of it. So.
All right, last question and the hardest question, or the easiest question. What do you get out of all this?
Oh my gosh.
You're beaming now. I can tell that you really, really
This is my favorite part of my job. I have, you know, grandiose dreams of where this program can go. I'd love to have it in every high school because I just think it's important. We need a PR campaign for career and technical education. I know that education after high school is so important, but sometimes I think we get too stuck in everyone being college ready, college ready, college ready.
And we know that's not the truth.
Well, and we have to realize that there are so many other jobs that are out there, and all of them do require some education and some training, but a lot of them are very, very lucrative, and they don't require a bachelor's degree from a university or a master's or a doctorate, you know, and I think there's this group of students that we can really, really affect change by giving them that extra time and that extra exposure. So it is definitely, you know, something I've found a passion for and hope to continue.
I would say good luck with the program, but you don't need that because it's already off to a great running start.
Thank
and
you
I just
very
say, just keep involved. There are a lot of kids who truly benefit from what you're doing, and the time that you invested is well spent.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, and
thank
you for your passion and your
enjoyed
efforts.
it. Yes, sir.
Well, each year we remind incoming 7th graders and their parents about some state-required immunizations. Students must have these immunizations before they are allowed to attend class on the first day of school. Now, many kids take care of this by going to their own doctor, but as Chadwick Pierce shows us, there's another option out there now that makes the process even more convenient for students and parents alike.
As parents file in, they sign in, and unfortunately for the students, a needle goes in. The Florida Department of Health in Marion County offers free immunizations to upcoming 7th graders, and this is the first time it has been available on site at the school.
It's a great opportunity we've been provided through the health department, where they've offered to come on out here to the school here at Horizon Academy and offer our parents an opportunity to have their 6th graders receive vaccinations so that they're prepared to go to school once 7th grade begins.
Parents or guardians must be present to give consent for children to receive the vaccines, but they don't seem to mind due to how convenient this makes things.
I don't need to go all the way to town, and if the school is doing it, why should I just go over there and then do it here? If my son feels comfortable with it in school, well, I'll come here and do it for him.
If your rising 7th grader does not have these shots, they will not be allowed in class on the first day of school, which can cause a delay for some students.
That's 100 students that are mainly throughout each middle school many times because it is a state requirement, so therefore each middle school has a lot of students sitting and waiting to get their schedule, and therefore there's a rush on the doctor's offices or the health department at that time because the parents simply forgot or weren't aware of the fact that there's this obligation.
The school is hoping that this partnership will help alleviate some of the students that will have to wait when school starts.
If we can have an additional 40 to 50 students immunized today or receive that vaccination, that's another 50 students that we get in the classroom first day of school.
The students seem to be okay with this obligation for a few reasons.
Because then they don't get sick and no one in the school can get sick or any type of disease. And it helps protect the children from any type of diseases.
This collaboration between the health department
and the schools is greatly appreciated.
This is a great opportunity that the health department is providing so we can meet the basic needs of what the state is requiring for 7th graders to begin and make sure that those 7th graders are in class the first day of school. So we appreciate the health department reaching out to us and being able to work in a partnership to make sure that we can take care of our students.
So parents, if you miss this opportunity at the school site, you can contact the immunization clinic at 352-629-0137, extension 2017. Again, that number is 352-629-0137, extension 2017. A word to the wise to those who did not get vaccinated.
They should have gotten their shot.
These efforts are paying off. Last August, 477 7th graders were not allowed in class because they had not received their immunizations. That's about 22% lower than the previous year. Our TV production students know how to create award-winning videos. That is fact. In fact, this year, 4 schools shared Best of Show honors, and you're about to see why they captured first places. First, though, here's a public service announcement created by Bellevue High School students that recently captured first place in a national competition.
89% of teens are involved in a dating relationship. 1 in 4 teens report experiencing some form of dating abuse. 1 in 5 girls have been physically or sexually abused. There is help.
Hello Kitty on it. Do you like my skirt? Do you like my tights? It matches my shoes. Do you like my diamond necklace? Hold your tongue. Well, I'm not holding my tongue. Don't be an idiom. Hold your tongue means be quiet. Ew. Oh. There's this really pretty red dress that sparkles and I really want it badly.
But that's going to cost you an arm and a leg for that dress.
Well, help me get my arm off. I really want that dress.
Don't be an idiom. It costs an arm and a leg means that it costs a lot of money.
Oh, well, I better go earn some money then.
Well, that almost cost her an arm and a leg for real. Keontae, you eat like a pig.
What?
Yes. Deontay, what are you doing?
Don't be an idiom. When he said you eat like a pig, that means to eat messy.
Oh!
Don't be an idiom!
We will share more of our Best of Show winners over the next few months. In sports, football season is on the horizon, with teams already practicing in limited amounts. Joe Hartley takes us in for a preview of this coming football season.
Philip Yancey got his first head coaching job by replacing his brother Jim at Vanguard 3 decades ago.
I think my first season was 1984, and I did not think that I would be here 30 years later or whatever, still coaching. I've been very fortunate that I've worked for a lot of great principals, worked with some great people, great assistant coaches, had great players, and that's probably led to it as much as anything.
About halfway through his 20-plus years at Vanguard, he faced off against a Lake Weir team led by quarterback Tim Hicks. Heading into his 5th season at Bellevue, Yancey again faced a Hicks-led Hurricane squad in last month's spring game. Only this time, Hicks was the head coach.
It really feels good because Tim was a great kid when he was playing for Lake Weir, and we've had some conversations and stuff as he's gotten into coaching and everything. So it's really nice to see those guys that you knew when they were younger come up and become head coaches.
Those conversations have been very enlightening for the first-year head coach.
Well, he's helped me as far as getting this planning the spring game. I didn't know anything about getting all the stuff ready for the game. What I had to do, what I had to take care of, getting hold of the referees, like doing all this stuff. I didn't realize that I had to do that. He came over and actually gave me some decorating ideas with my weight room. Just, you know, who to call, who I can ask. Literally, I've emailed him probably 10 times, and he's got back to me, or he'll call. And any question I have, I can go to him.
There's a lot of things that people don't realize that a head coach ends up doing. It's not just throwing the football out there and things happen. There's a lot of planning that go into it. I was very fortunate in that when I became a head coach, my brother Jim, who I replaced, was still on the campus at Vanguard. You know, those guys were there, so I had a lot of people that I could trust to ask those questions about. As I've gotten older, it seems like I've kind of become that guy, and you learn that you're in this together, and us as head coaches at Marion County, we need to get along and we need to do things together because we're going to get a lot more done. Now, 1 week a year, we're going to try and beat each other. But other than that, 51 weeks a year, we're going to work together. We're going to try and solve problems together. We're going to work for the betterment of Marion County high school football.
With Forrest's Skip Austin as the only other coach with even a single season under his belt, Yancey can expect and welcomes lots of calls for advice.
And any of the guys, the new guys in the county, I'm more than welcome, you know, more than willing to help them if they have any questions or whatever. I've turned into the old guy now again. Anything that I can do to help those guys, I will be more than happy to. And we've talked about things such as off-season program, how we do it, why we do it this way. And any of that stuff, they're more than welcome to give me a call and we'll talk about it.
Stay tuned for lots more sports stories this fall once the new school year kicks off. Each month here on our show, we shine the spotlight on one of our employees who loves what they do every day. This month, that light is on Rebecca Roura, or Becky Roura, as we call her. She's our new Director of Transportation, which means she is over everything bus-related. What a job. I know you will enjoy getting to know Becky Roura in this month's Employee Spotlight.
I definitely have a wider perspective of transportation from different areas. I started as a bus aide and then went a couple of months to a bus driver. I've been a driver trainer and then to a zone coordinator, special projects coordinator. I've done that for a few years as well. And then to supervisor of transportation in the garage. It's a big responsibility to ensure that the drivers have the tools and all of the training and the support that they need to ensure the safety of the students. The ultimate goal is to get the students back and forth to school safely. Technology just has helped us to be more efficient, to spend the money more wisely and stretching those dollars. So that's been a big change within transportation. A lot of people don't realize that have come in the last 10 to 20 years that we use pen, paper, map on the wall, push pins, color-coded push pins to indicate the stop location, to now punching in a few numbers on the computer. Technology has brought us a long way, so now at the push of a button, we can set up a route and then go back in and tweak it and save a lot of time, cut down on manpower. I know that when people look at transportation, they see the buses and they see the children we transport, but I like them to also see the great drivers, the employees that we have. From the office staff down to the drivers and the bus aide, they play an intricate part into doing what we are in the business of doing. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do it. We greatly depend on our mechanics, and they keep us running. You know, they got to keep up that inspection, make sure those buses are up to par, get out on that road and do the road calls when a bus go down and get it back up quickly. And it could be going out to take a part out or grabbing a spare and take to them and swap out. So they're the first line of keeping that engine rolling, keeping the wheels on the bus going round and round.
Becky took over earlier this year for Bobby Englehart, who held the same position for 11 of her 34 years with our school district. Well, he's held the position for less than 2 years, but he's just as passionate when it comes to our students. Here's Mr. George Tomyn with this month's Superintendent Spotlight.
Greetings from the Marion County Public School System, and more specifically from Hillcrest Schools. We're now in the month of June, and high school graduations, middle school graduations, and elementary graduations are behind us, and the summer months are here. Parents, I want you to be very mindful of something. Let's try to avoid that summer gap, the time when students kind of forget what they learned the year before as they prepare for the next year. Let me give you some hints and some suggestions about what you can do. Elementary parents, continue having very good engaged dialogue and conversations with your children. Take your children to the grocery store with you. Help them make out grocery lists, or let them help you make out a grocery list. Try to keep their minds working. And for elementary, middle, and high school students, please take advantage of our fantastic county library systems. Our libraries are open almost every day of the week, I believe, in the summer, and they have fantastic resources for every student to take advantage of. So parents, I would encourage you to let's stop and help prevent that summer creep or that summer gap. And parents, while you're busy with your children over the summer, our teachers are also busy. Many are enjoying a well-deserved summer vacation, and many are also participating in continuing education programs either at colleges and universities or at our local staff development offices, preparing for next year. And our district offices, well, we work 12 months of the year getting ready for the busy 14-15 school year. We have a lot of challenges in front of us. We look forward to those challenges, and we wish that you have a wonderful and productive summer time.
Thanks, Mr. Tomyn, and thank you for joining us today. Have a safe and healthy summer, and remember, we still have students on campus at many of our schools, and of course, parents, remember, be there for your child every day. We'll see you again next time.